Welcome to our channel, where we explore fascinating stories from the world of film and entertainment. In this video, we're going to look at the life of Robert Z'Dar, one of the most recognizable faces in B-movies, known especially for his iconic role in Maniac Cop. From his early beginnings in Chicago and his unique physical appearance, to his rise as a cult film star and his enduring legacy, Robert Z'Dar's story is both inspiring and tragic. If you're a fan of B-grade action, horror, and sci-fi flicks, stay tuned to discover what made this larger-than-life actor such a memorable presence on screen. And before we get started, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth looks at the fascinating figures of cinema history. Robert James Zdarsky was born on June 3, 1950, in Chicago. He began acting during his teens as a student at Proviso West High School. He later attended the University of Arizona and graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts. He returned to his native Chicago and began his career, not as an actor but as a police officer. One wonders if he knew then that he'd become a star by playing a ruthless NYPD cop. After his policing career, he performed in the band Nova Express, wrote jingles for commercials, and even danced as a member of the Chippendales troupe. But he knew that he was destined for bigger things. In the 1980s, he moved to Los Angeles to pursue a film career. Before long, he began to make his name in popular B-movies. Before we tell you more about Robert Z'Dar's life and career, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more current news and interesting stories. While these facts lay out the straightforward details of Robert Z'Dar's early years, there is a deeper story behind his upbringing and how it influenced his path toward cult film stardom. Chicago, where he was born, has long been known for its vibrant theater tradition and its robust cultural scene, ranging from experimental theater troupes to historic performance venues. Growing up in that environment may have quietly stoked Z'Dar's desire to act, even if he did not initially envision that he would end up on the silver screen. His condition, cherubism, not only made him visually distinct, but also set him apart from many of his peers. Cherubism typically causes prominence in the lower face, giving it a rounded appearance. While this might have been a source of insecurity for many, Robert managed to leverage it as a unique attribute that would eventually make him stand out in the B-movie circuit. In interviews later in his life, he spoke about the challenges of living with such a condition, particularly during childhood, but he also acknowledged that it helped open doors for him in the entertainment industry once he decided to fully embrace acting. His time at Proviso West High School also deserves attention. The high school itself was not only a standard educational environment, but also a place that offered extracurricular activities in drama and performance arts. Robert's involvement in acting during his teens likely began as a curiosity, perhaps performing in school plays or working behind the scenes, before blossoming into a full-fledged passion. This period of his life was crucial because it laid the groundwork for his later decision to move to Los Angeles and chase his dream. Another intriguing aspect of his early life was his role as a police officer in Chicago. The city's law enforcement environment is well known for its complexities, and the notion that Robert became an actual police officer hints at his multifaceted personality. Policing, especially in a major city like Chicago, is no small feat. In many ways, it can be a performance of its own, requiring a certain demeanor, a way of handling stressful situations, and an ability to navigate complicated social environments. This real-life experience would later serve him in roles where he portrayed law enforcement officers or tough guys in B-movies. The authenticity he brought to such parts likely stemmed from his real-world experience. His brief foray into dancing with the Chippendales troupe and performing in the band Nova Express further underscores Robert's willingness to explore varied facets of the entertainment world. Dancing for a popular all-male revue like Chippendales implies confidence, a stage presence, and a willingness to put oneself out there, qualities that would undoubtedly benefit him later on as an on-screen performer known for intense and frequently physically demanding roles. By the time he decided to relocate to Los Angeles in the 1980s, Robert Z. Dar had an impressive array of life experiences that range from law enforcement to stage performance and music. This broad background distinguished him from many other aspiring actors who might have had more conventional or narrowly focused upbringings. It also helped him adapt to the cutthroat nature of Hollywood auditions, especially in the B-movie realm, where roles sometimes require quick changes, high-energy performances, and a willingness to step outside typical boundaries of mainstream filmmaking. Before we move on to his later achievements, it is worth noting that the University of Arizona, where he completed his Bachelor of Fine Arts, is recognized for programs that encourage hands-on learning in performance arts. Zidar's higher education not only gave him formal training, but also exposed him to various genres of stage acting, script interpretation, and possibly even the technical side of production. These were skills he would hone and refine once he embarked on his acting career in earnest. Every step he took, from patrolling the streets of Chicago to dancing on stage, fed into his ability to inhabit outlandish or intimidating characters in front of the camera. Even early in his life, he was honing a certain type of persona, physical, intense, and unapologetically larger than life. Whether or not he fully recognized it at the time, these formative experiences foreshadowed the direction his career would take, playing menacing villains and unforgettable characters that stuck in the minds of genre film fans. By the time he set foot in Los Angeles, he had already lived multiple lives in a sense, and that depth of experience would become part of his appeal to directors looking for someone with an edgy presence. Given the challenges he faced both personally and professionally, Robert's determination to break into the film industry says a lot about his resilience. Many aspiring actors head to LA with dreams of stardom, but few have the unique blend of real-life policing, musical performance, comedic flair, and raw physical presence that Z. Dar brought to the table. This blend created a natural synergy with the B-movie industry, which often values striking appearances and strong personalities, qualities that can shine through on smaller budgets and make a film memorable even if it doesn't have the polish or resources of a Hollywood blockbuster. Ultimately, Robert Z. Dar's early life is a testament to the idea that every experience can contribute to one's craft. Far from being a straightforward path, his route to becoming a cult film icon was full of interesting detours and personal revelations. In each of these detours, from the police force to Chippendales, he honed aspects of performance, discipline, and showmanship that would make him stand out as soon as he appeared on a B-movie set. Understanding these roots helps us appreciate his later roles in a deeper, more nuanced way, especially when we see him embody menacing characters or deliver a line with a particular kind of gravitas that could only come from someone who had truly lived a wide range of experiences. Now back to the video. In 1985, Robert landed his first role in the B-movie Hellhole. This was a women in prison film, which was a popular genre that first came to prominence in the 1970s. The film was about a woman who gets committed to a mental institution run by a mad scientist. Robert played a supporting role in the film and was credited as Robert Darcy. He clearly loved the experience of acting, and he made an impression with his role. He continued to act in B-movies throughout the 1980s, including Hot Chili, The Night Stalker, Cherry 2000, The Killing Game, and Grotesque. But it was in 1988 when his career took off. He played the role of Matt Cordell in the film Maniac Cop, directed by Bill Lustig and written by Larry Cohen. The film is considered a cult classic and spawned 2 sequels. In fact, Robert was interviewed for a special edition DVD of the film where he fondly recalled memories of working on the film. In Maniac Cop, his character is a police officer who gets slain in prison after being wrongfully imprisoned for police brutality. He wakes up as an undead cop and begins to wreak havoc on others. This film showed that Robert Z'Dar had an incredible knack for playing antagonists and frightening characters. While the film didn't receive too many favorable reviews by critics, it's a favorite for fans of B-movies and exploitation films. Comedian Neil Cicierega recorded a song called Two Trucks, in which he mentioned the film and Robert Z'Dar. He ended the decade playing the character Face in the action film Tango and Cash, featuring Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell. This was one of the few mainstream films he appeared in, and just as he did in B-movies, he managed to steal the show. Whenever he appeared in a film, audiences always took notice of his incredible appearance and memorable acting. His other notable films in the 1980s included Killing American Style and Young Rebels, both films in which he played the main villain. These films were directed by Amir Shervan, who would later direct Robert in a classic B-movie released in the 1990s. But we'll get to that in a moment. It was also clear that he would have one of the most prolific careers of any actor. In 1990, Robert Z'Dar appeared in the film The Final Sanction, directed by David A. Pryor. He had a lead role alongside Ted Pryor. Robert played Sergei, a Russian soldier who fights against the American soldier played by Ted Pryor. However, the two of them decide that dueling is futile and decide to join hands to fight against both governments who are hell-bent on war. The film was largely panned, but this didn't stop Robert Z'Dar from continuing his acting career. He appeared in the comedy film A Gnome Called Norm, which was also released in 1990. He also acted in the 2 sequels to Maniac Cop as well, Beastmaster 2. He acted in the 1991 film Mobsters, which was a crime film that was about the creation of the Commission, the governing body of the American Mafia created by Lucky Luciano. The film starred Christian Slater, Michael Gambon, Patrick Dempsey, Anthony Quinn, and F. Murray Abraham. Robert played the supporting role of Rocco. That same year, he appeared in a straight-to-video action film directed by Amir Shervan, with whom he worked with in the 1980s. The film was called Samurai Cop, and it's now considered a cult film. While not strictly a comedy, the film's hilarious dialogue and low budget have made it one of those so bad it's great films. Robert Z'Dar played Yamashita, a villainous henchman for the crime boss Okamura. This film is one of Robert's most famous works and is a great introduction to anyone who isn't familiar with his career. In 1993, Robert played the lead role of Sam Hell in the apocalyptic film Return to Frogtown. This is a fantastic film to watch if you're a fan of films about mutant frogs who are at war with mankind. He also acted in other science fiction B-movies such as Future War and Pocket Ninjas. He ended the decade playing Assface in the comedy film Tyrone, which also starred Ethan Suplee, Kevin Connolly, and Coolio. Robert certainly didn't slow down as he entered the 3rd decade of his career. By the time the year 2000 had come along, he had acted every single year. 2001 was the only year when he didn't have a film release. He appeared in 2 episodes of Beyond Belief, Fact or Fiction, which was one of his rare TV appearances. He acted alongside Michael Madsen, Todd Bridges, and Charles Napier in the film The Thief and the Stripper. This was a low-budget crime film, which was Robert's specialty. But he also branched out to other genres in the 2000s. While he had been in some frightening films before, he began appearing in more horror films during this decade. He appeared in the 2002 horror comedy film, Trance. He also appeared in a lead role in the comedy film Mob Days. He followed this up with the horror films Vampire Boulevard and The Rockville Slayer. He continued to act in low-budget horror movies for much of the remainder of the decade. He continued to show how hard-working and dedicated he was to his work. In 2002, he suffered a back injury while working on a film. This didn't slow him down at all, and he continued to act for the remainder of the decade. By the time 2010 came around, Robert Z. Darr was a living legend in the B-movie industry. He appeared in the spoof comedy film Not Another B-Movie, which parodied the B-movie industry and the cliches from various films. He acted in the crime film Salvador's Deli as Salvador, a pizza shop owner who gets mysteriously killed. He played a ghost in the thriller film The Voices from Beyond and had a lead role in the adventure film Death from Above. He also appeared in a comic version of himself in the short comedy film The Perfect Candidate, where he played Joe Estevez's running mate as the latter ran for President of the United States. One of his last major film roles was as Sheriff Dumas in the action film Mountain Mafia. This was a film about a gang based in the Appalachian region. The film was released in 2012. In 2015, Robert had attended the Pensacon convention in Pensacola, Florida. He began experiencing serious chest pains during the event and checked himself into a hospital after the event ended. He was hospitalized for a month and sadly his condition worsened. He died of a cardiac arrest on March 30th, 2015, at the age of 64. He'll always be remembered as an icon of B-movies and one of the industry's most prolific actors. In fact, he had a few films that were released posthumously. The most recent film, Spring Fever, was released in 2020. This is a comedy horror film about a spreading infection that's meant to control the population. Could it have come at a better time? Robert played the supporting role of Roth Chili DeVille. This was his last role, but knowing him, we won't be surprised if there are even more films of his waiting to be released in the coming years. Robert Z. Darr's life and career were as distinctive and dramatic as his unforgettable appearance. From playing menacing villains to starring in cult classics, he left behind a rich legacy that B-movie fans continue to celebrate. Even after his passing, he lives on through posthumous film releases that captivate new generations of viewers. Whether you first encountered him in Maniac Cop, Samurai Cop, or one of his many other roles, Robert Z. Darr remains an icon of genre cinema. We hope you enjoyed learning about his remarkable journey. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it informative, and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing stories from the world of entertainment. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Even in his final years, Robert was dedicated to meeting fans, as evidenced by his appearance at Pensacon. Conventions had become a major part of fan culture, where devoted viewers of cult cinema could come face to face with the performers they admired. Robert's decision to attend, despite any personal health struggles, underscores how deeply he valued his supporters. The news of his cardiac arrest and eventual passing was met with an outpouring of tributes from fellow actors, directors, and fans who recognized the impact he had on the B-movie and cult film landscape. His posthumous releases, such as Spring Fever, are a testament to the fact that Robert Z. Darr's distinctive presence transcends his physical lifetime. In Spring Fever, even though he appears in a supporting role, the film's comedic horror approach suits his established persona, part intimidating, part darkly humorous. The storyline about a spreading infection meant to control the population is emblematic of the kind of off-kilter plots that define the cult horror and comedy realms. His appearance in the film, released 5 years after his death, keeps his legacy alive and ensures that new fans are continually discovering his work. There are rumors in fan circles and on online message boards that there might be additional unreleased or partially completed films featuring Z. Dar. Given the nature of the B-movie world, where projects sometimes languish in post-production limbo, it's not inconceivable that we may see more appearances from him in the future. Such a possibility only enhances his near-mythical status among fans who appreciate the gritty, passionate world of independent genre filmmaking. In many ways, Robert Z. Dar's passing represents the end of an era. He was one of the last actors whose career spanned the heyday of VHS rentals in the 1980s, the direct-to-video surge of the 1990s, the DVD revolution of the 2000s, and the new frontier of digital streaming in the 2010s. Throughout all these industry evolutions, he managed to remain relevant, continually finding new filmmakers willing to cast him and new audiences eager to see what outrageous or intimidating character he would play next. His influence on the industry can also be seen in the proliferation of B-movie fan communities that celebrate his entire filmography, from the more mainstream Cameo and Tango and Cash to obscure titles like Pocket Ninjas. Sites like IMDb, Letterboxd, and various cult cinema forums feature extensive discussions about his best scenes, comedic outtakes, and interviews. Screenings of Samurai Cop or Maniac Cop often become communal celebrations of not just the films themselves, but of Z. Dar's inimitable performances within them. Moreover, he epitomizes a certain ethos in acting, one that embraces the power of a memorable character actor rather than chasing A-list stardom. In interviews, cast and crew members often recalled his professionalism, the intensity of his performances, and his warm interactions off-camera. This duality of being both larger than life on screen and grounded in reality off-screen helped cultivate a loyal following. Fans and fellow actors alike respected him as someone who never forgot his roots, never refused a project simply because it was too small, and maintained an earnest love for his craft even when budgets were microscopic or storylines ventured into the bizarre. The fact that he continued receiving roles up to the time of his death and beyond in posthumous releases speaks to the high regard in which he was held within the B-movie circuit. Directors who grew up watching him in the 1980s and 1990s were thrilled to cast him, knowing that his mere presence could lend a sense of authenticity and flair to their productions. This intergenerational cycle of admiration ensured that Robert Z. Dar would remain not just a relic of a bygone era, but an active, evolving participant in cult cinema right up to the end. In remembering him, it is also important to recognize that beyond the menacing characters and undead cops, Robert Z. Dar was a complex individual whose early life experiences influenced the roles he took on. His police background, his distinct facial structure due to cherubism, and his unrelenting commitment to entertainment in its many forms, music, dance, film, gave him a multi-dimensional persona that fans found endlessly fascinating. He was the everyman's anti-hero, a performer who might not have conformed to typical Hollywood ideals, but found a way to leverage his differences into an iconic career that spanned over 3 decades. Today, new fans encounter his work for the first time, often through recommendations of cult film enthusiasts who passionately champion lesser-known gems. Whether viewers are drawn in by the campy charm of Samurai Cop or the horror-laced action of Maniac Cop, they frequently end up exploring his wider filmography in search of more Zedar magic. This ongoing discovery process keeps his spirit alive, as each new generation of cult film aficionados stumbles upon his unforgettable roles and wonders why they hadn't known about him sooner. His appearance at conventions like Pensacon, right up to his final year, emphasized that he saw himself not just as an actor, but as a part of a community. Many fans share stories of how approachable and kind he was during autograph sessions or Q&A panels. He reportedly loved swapping anecdotes about the chaotic nature of B-movie sets, how sometimes the prop guns didn't work correctly, or the stunt choreography was improvised at the last minute. These interactions painted a picture of a man who, despite playing fearsome characters on screen, was genuinely appreciative of and humbled by his fans. Ultimately, Robert Zedar's legacy is defined by his body of work, his fan interactions, and the unwavering passion he brought to every project, no matter how large or small. His story is indeed both tragic and inspiring. Tragic because he passed away relatively young, before he could fully see the resurgence of interest that the internet age would bring to his older films. Inspiring because he demonstrated how someone can turn what might be perceived as physical adversity into an advantage, and how an actor can carve out a fulfilling niche by staying true to their identity. With Spring Fever and other potential projects that might yet see the light of day, Robert Zedar remains a presence, even in death. This ongoing relevance is not something every actor achieves, especially those who primarily operated in the low-budget sector. But Zedar's uniqueness, combined with the deep affection of fans who champion his work, continues to push his name into new discussions and new viewings. His influence also resonates with other actors and filmmakers who see in his career a model for forging one's path irrespective of mainstream norms. In an industry obsessed with youth, physical perfection, and formulaic storytelling, Robert Zedar stood out precisely because he broke every mold. He reminds us that passion, authenticity, and a willingness to embrace the unconventional can forge an enduring bond with audiences. By any measure, his filmography is remarkable for its breadth, spanning everything from comedic family fare to hardcore exploitation flicks. Younger genre actors can look at his diverse resume and realize that there is freedom in the B-movie world to experiment with roles and storytelling methods that might be unthinkable in big-budget productions. Writers and directors can reflect on how employing an actor with a distinct look and a fearless attitude can elevate a simple premise into cult legend status. Finally, the tragic aspect of Robert Zedar's story provides a somber but necessary reminder of mortality, a reminder that even iconic figures who seem larger than life can be taken from us abruptly. Yet the manner in which his legacy continues to grow exemplifies how the cinematic arts can transcend an individual's lifespan. Through DVDs, streaming, convention screenings, and even memes, his work keeps finding new life. And so in the end, we return to the memory of Robert Zedar as an enduring icon, a performer who combined physical intensity with genuine warmth, forging an unforgettable path through the annals of cult cinema. His life might have been cut short at 64, but his cinematic ghost roams on through undead cops, sword-wielding henchmen, post-apocalyptic warriors, and comedic caricatures of himself. Thank you for joining us on this deep exploration of Robert Zedar's life and career. If you've enjoyed this look into the remarkable journey of one of the B-movie world's most distinctive faces, be sure to like this video, subscribe for more intriguing stories, and share your own favorite Robert Zedar memories in the comments below. Until next time, stay tuned for more fascinating tales from the world of film and entertainment.